Greetings, Earthlings. This is your galactic gallivanter, Ashley Cass, with Cosmic Cowboy John Mata. Turn on, tune in, and drop down the rabbit hole with us as we explore the psychedelic experience, discuss tools for expansion, and speak with the most illuminated of minds. Here we go. The most concentrated psychedelic experience known is that of 5-MEO DMT, found in various plants and notably Bufo Alvarius, a species of toad that resides in the Sonora Desert. This divine compound is transforming, healing, and expanding consciousness one deep inhalation at a time. Joining us, we have Yannina Thomassiny, journalist, traveler, 5-MEO facilitator. Welcome, Yannina. Thank you for being our first guest down the rabbit hole.
Thank you, guys. It's an honor to be here with you. Thank you.
Can you tell us a little about yourself, the toad, and how you got into this work?
Yes, of course. For many years, I was working as a journalist, writing in magazines and newspapers. But in some point, I got interested in psychedelic experiences. And when I had my first toad experience, changed my life forever and for real. And in that point, I started to make my own investigations and my own research about the topic, and I got involved so much that I started to work with. And now, since 4 years ago, I'm a facilitator working with the toad around the world, and it's a very beautiful experience to share this consciousness and awareness to all the people.
Beautiful. Will you share more about your initial experience?
Yes, of course. Well, my first experience was in the Sonora Desert. I wasn't sure what was going to happen. I was sure that it's going to be a very deep and intense experience, because I read that the toad is very intense, but I wasn't sure what is going to happen. And when I had my first experience with the Seris tribe, I felt melted with the universe. I felt that my ego was completely dissolved. The first word, the first feeling was about compassion with myself, compassion with the world, understanding that we are not one, we are connected to each other, and my actions are affecting you and otherwise. So for me, was a revelation, like something that really changed my idea of myself, of being just me and a selfish person. I was taking everything so serious, and in that moment I saw that anything is so important in a good way, like you need to be more easygoing, more kind with everything, and just connect with the world.
Truly illuminating. What did you need to do to prepare for your role as a facilitator?
Well, at the beginning, when I started, my preparation was taking toad a lot of times with different facilitators, with different techniques, to understand what happened inside, what are the possibilities of this trip, what the trip is going to reveal every time that you smoke it. So for me, my preparation was smoking and a lot of spirituality preparation also, like meditation. Especially in my opinion, the most important thing is to be happy all days of your life, and also the Qigong helps me to reconnect myself to my natural energy, like my center, my own information that everyone have, and just need to open that door and reveal that kind of things.
So can you tell us what the active ingredient in Bufo Alvarius is, or in the 5-MeO DMT experience? Or let me rephrase that question. What is the difference between DMT and 5-MeO DMT?
Well, there is many types of DMT right now in the world. In Mexico, we have the synthetic DMT that is extracted from the tepescohuite tree, and but all the DMTs, the DMTs that they call DMT, just like DMT, it's extracted from plants, but they need a chemical process. The toad is a completely natural dried secretion from a toad. And when you extract it, it's bufotenine. And when you burn it, is when it evolved, the molecule evolved to 5-MeO DMT.
I've heard that if you eat it, it could bring upon death. It could be disastrous.
Well, for the human, it's not like that. For animals, could be, because it's a defense mechanism from the toad. So, for example, if a cat eat the secretion, maybe the cat will die, or a snake, or a pet in your house, but not in the human. Maybe the human, if the human eat a little bit of the toad, could be like you are going to be in the bathroom for 2 days nonstop.
Sounds no bueno.
Yes.
Unsubscribe.
Yes.
Can you give us some information on setting, dosages, and the method of how Bufo is administered?
Yes. This question is very important because I already heard that many people, is afraid to having this experience because they are watching videos in YouTube with people rolling around like crazy, like with the weirdest experience ever. But this is about the doses. The correct way of administrating the toad is with 0.07 micrograms. And there is some facilitators that use highest doses, and that's okay, but in my opinion, that's experience for people that already smoke before. If you are a person that is going to smoke for the first time, in my opinion, should be beginning with a dose like 0.07 micrograms. Less than that, it's impossible to connect with the experience. If you smoke less than 7, it's impossible to trespass the barrier. And that's why it's also very important that the person do an effort to smoke the whole dose, because even when you put the 0.07, if the person don't smoke it the whole dose, probably the trip is going to be like in the middle of the connection.
And how much is too much?
Too much could be like a 0.50. And some people are smoking that, like 0.50, 0.70. The thing is that there is not an overdose of toad. No one can die of that, because this is your lungs are your lungs have a size, and you cannot smoke more than your lungs can take it. So your body is intelligent, so you can take what you need.
Divine. How many times have you administered Bufo?
For myself or for
others? Both.
For myself, I don't know, because I already smoke many times, but my ritual is smoking monthly since 5 years ago. And for people, I imagine that I'm already in more than 5,000 persons until now.
Wow.
Yes. Now in Mexico, I'm working around 50 to 20 persons per week, plus like the tours around the world.
So much healing.
Yes,
One inhalation at a time. Thank you for that beautiful work.
it's my pleasure.
Can you speak to some of the transformations you've seen in Bufo and after experiences?
Yes, of course. I can tell you that right now, with this contemporary world that we are living, we are so connected with technology, with this feeling of having everything so quickly. Because you take the cell phone and you can search something and you can have it in your hands in 1 second, and you desire something and you are buying online and everything is like over there. So I can see that people is having everything, but at the same time they are completely disconnected and they are struggling with being happy and understanding themselves and understanding the idea that all the answers are inside them. So the transformations with the toad, it's understanding that all the answers are inside you, and that immediately connection is not with technology, it's more about with your heart and your soul. And the good thing of the toad is that the trip is not just that 15 minutes. It's more about the transformation after that 15 minutes. So people can go to this amazing place every time that they meditate. Other benefit that Toad gives is the curiosity of connect with this kind of practices. So people that is not meditating, after the Toad, they start to meditate. After the Toad, they start to connect with their breathing. They know that they need to breathe when they are in something, in a weird situation, in something difficult. They again connect with their breathing and they trust in them, they understand that anything is so difficult, anything is so complicated. So that's the transformation, to believe in yourself, to connect with this energy that everyone have.
Let's see. What's the onset of the experience once you start the process of bringing it into your lungs?
The effect of the toad is so immediately. It's like you are smoking and you are over there. But there is a couple of seconds, maybe 9 seconds, that you can keep smoking and you can follow the voice of the facilitator, following the counting. 10, 9, 8, 7. So we can say that it's 10 seconds until you trespass the barrier and you are completely there. The climax of the experience is not in the middle, like all the experiences, all the psychedelic experiences that they go like for the floor to the top, no? Like this is the opposite. You go like in a roller coaster. You go to the top to down, like
yeah, to divinity and beyond. Sounds like.
Yes, exactly.
What are some of the tools that you use to create space for this experience?
Okay, well, it depends. Because sometimes I have the possibility of giving the experience outside in an open space, and some other moments I facilitate the experience in a closed doors experience. But the most important thing is that the person is in the floor with some blankets or something, because they need to be like comfortable. But if you are in a bed or something, you are going to fall down. So the correct way of having this experience is in the floor. Second one, it's with music, because music is energy and it's also a frequency that give you a path to follow. So I play Tibetan bowls and another Mexican instrument that the name is hikuri drum. And this drum is a liaison of 7 metals and helps to alienate the chakras during the experience. And also I use some pre-Hispanic, how do you say, silbatos?
Whistles.
Whistles, and some maracas.
Órale.
Yes.
Qué divino fiesta.
Sí.
How does one prepare for a session and integrate following the experience?
Well, before the experience, it's very important. Don't eat 5 hours before. Then, don't smoke weed 1 day before and the day of the experience. Of course, don't drink alcohol. People sometimes get very nervous and they are not eating, but they are drinking a lot of water, and that's a mistake. So it's the correct way of having this experience is without food and without water, at least 1 hour before. I mean the water. The food, 4 hours before. Then it's not allowed to have this experience if you are on a treatment with antidepressants or anxiolytic pills. Another thing to prepare yourself is to know how to smoke correctly, because if you are a person that you don't know how to contain the dose, it's impossible to have the experience. Other important thing to have a correct experience, it's comfortable clothes, because sometimes some girls arrive with fake eyelashes and a lot of bracelets and many things, and it's complicated to have a correct experience when you are full of things. It's easier when you are comfortable with anything that can interrupt your experience.
Yeah, it's harder to let go when you're holding so much.
Exactly, and the experience is about dissolving ego. So the first step to dissolve ego is let all these things out.
Right. What is some advice you have for first-timers?
First, don't be afraid. It's very important that you trust yourself, trust in the experience. The good thing is that it's just 15 minutes. So if you allow yourself to melt inside for 15 minutes, I promise that it's going to be one of the most beautiful experiences ever. Second advice, stop watching YouTube videos before your experience, because it's not a good idea that you preconceive the idea of the experience. Remember that every human being is a completely different person, so you are not going to have the same experience of the guy that is tripping in YouTube. You have your own history, you have your own issues, so trust in yourself and get inside, okay? The third advice that I can give is... Perdón, me fui. Sí estábamos en los consejos, ¿verdad? Okay. Third advice that I can give, don't go with someone else to have the experience. In my opinion, it's better to have it alone. If you have someone that is watching you, you know that someone is over there, even when you are tripping inside of other dimension, So it's better. It's like going to the psychologist with your husband. You will never go with the psychologist with your husband or with your mother, right? So it's better to have it for yourself. Other advice, many people is curious about their reaction in this dimension, so they go with a camera and they want to see their reactions, and in my opinion it's not necessary. The less important thing of the experience is your reaction. I mean, the important thing is what you feel after the experience. That's the point of this. So let yourself out of this, of the experience.
And speaking of feelings afterwards, what are some of the short and long-term benefits of smoking 5-MeO DMT?
In short terms, you can see that you are sleeping better, you are happier, your meditations are deeper and more visuals during the meditations, like sacred geometry and all these connections. In long terms, I think that you can. Many people stop eating animals. Many people stop drinking alcohol. They stop bad habits. They start to search a healthier life. Like they start to love themselves more and they search better things for them. So it's like connecting with your own love. That's the long term, the best benefit of the toad.
What a gift to oneself.
Yes. Like self-esteem. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. Self-esteem and love for everyone also. Mm-hmm.
What aspect of sharing this medicine brings you the most joy?
For me, this moment that the people came back from the experience and I can see this light in their face when they really connect with the consciousness, with the real consciousness, and they turn the face to you and they are like, wow, this moment of realization is the correct word? The realization of themselves, for me, is the most beautiful moment of my day. Like when I see those faces of people connecting with this sacred information, and that is over there, and you just need to break your fears and go there.
Mm-hmm. Can you speak to what this sacred compound does to the brain or to the body?
Well, the 5-MEO DMT have a lot of benefits, but two of the most important ones are, the first one is that it helps to descalcify the pineal gland. So if you descalcify your pineal gland, first, your sense of being connected is going to be awake. Then the levels of serotonin and melatonin are going to be higher. That's why you start to feel happier and you start to sleep better. And the third one is that the synaptic connections reconnect. That's why all the thoughts are faster. That's why the people that is depressed start to see the problems like something easier to solve. So that's the principal benefits of. Mm-hmm.
So divine. Yeah. Thank you so much, Yannina.
My pleasure.
This has been... For one interested in learning more about what you do, where should they go?
Well, I have a website on Facebook that the name is DMT Mexico, Bufo Alvarius. So you can search it like facebook.com/DMT Mexico Bufo Alvarius, and you can send me a message and I will answer all your questions. Thank you.
Once again, so much gratitude.
No, thank you, guys.
Yannina.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The rat.